Normal. We've never experienced this new, fast-paced normal, so we witnessed everything, the good it can do and the horribly bad and chaotic it can also do. I wonder if we'll ever really adapt to it, or if this will slowly lead to our downfall. Nutella. She surely enjoys it, especially on her frappes. Thankfully, she doesn't abuse it and controls her sugar levels. Hopefully, this will be enough for her to avoid diabetes. Nuts. We're slowly going nuts with every bit of fast-paced communication we receive. I can feel it often. My mind needs to slow down if I stay too much time looking at the screen. The eyes and mind need some rest, or else they'll cease to exist. Naivete. Being so naive has protected her from learning about dark parts of history. To think that she wanted to work against crime is kind of weird nowadays, for I think her mind and stomach wouldn't be able to tolerate it. Nefelibara. Often lost in my imagination, searching for ways to escape these difficult times, but it creeps in and ruins whatever bright, shiny light thoughts I was exploring. Thus, the world crumbles to darkness. I try to recapture those beautiful clouds and dreams of bright imagination, but it gets lost under the darkness of reality. Nefarious. I'm often surprised at how nefarious the world has presented itself to be. I'm sure it's always been like that, and the anonymity of the internet has merely aided in it being more visible. I wonder how future generations will face this, because I don't know if mine will be able to completely eradicate it, as we only serve as the first wave to go against it. The wave that'll make many mistakes along the way, that'll hopefully help future gens in their own path. Night. Every night feels shorter in these times. Sometimes we can't sleep enough. I guess that's one of the first steps in adulting, losing additional sleep than the hours you lost as a student. Need. Often lost in the web looking, consuming, and searching for some sense of hope or revelation or whatever we need. Why though? Has this new access to information opened a gateway for the answers to the questions regarding the universe? Or are we simply searching for approval, identity, or some other form of love? It's all about need. Novaturians. Often you'll find artists in Novaturian states. In fact, at the start, most of them are, or at least I'd like to think so. Some eventually lose their way to other forms of purpose or happiness, but thankfully there exists some balance of both, if you bother to search enough. Next. I can't even comprehend what will come next. The next big thing, the next big life-changing event. Social media has been the biggest for the longest. The virus has been another. I wonder if aliens will soon come after. Nostalgia. My generation is so attached to you. It's crazy, but I think it's inherently human to attach to you. You always bring back a sense of calm, happiness, and freedom before the storm of adulthood enter into one's life. Notion. We often lose our notions of who we are, especially in these weird times where we constantly consume others' thoughts and feel some form of connection without creating our own sense of identity prior to said consumption. I admit it, I often go through it. I guess the biggest problem, or at least the most difficult part, would be creating some form of self before taking others' thoughts and bringing them into one's own world. Natural. Is it natural? Everything they're doing to nature? Is it natural to consume so much art, entertainment, media content on the daily? Is it natural? Is it natural? Can we go on living like this and have it be part of a new natural? Notes. Searching in my books, search in my notes, and you'll find thousands of notes, ideas, questions, thoughts, emotions lost on paper and web canvases, just like many do as well. Thankfully, I handpick what to share and not use social media like a journal. Notebook. I miss the notebook. Writing on the phone and computer doesn't have a lot of personality unless you play around with fonts and other forms of media. The paper, while it does damage to the environment, it can also be very freeing. What a double-edged sword, huh? Nightmare. I had contracted the virus and contaminated my loved ones along the way. A nightmare. No. All lives matter. Everybody suffers from violence. Yes, it's true, but right now, sit down and listen, or you'll continue to receive a no to every forum you wish to be a part of. Names. Names are one of my weaknesses. Names for large-scale projects and small-scale works. Names, they'll be the death of me. That's what I used to think often as a kid. Thankfully, that hasn't been the case lately, but I don't doubt it'll happen again in the future. Numb. The mind goes numb as nothing else comes out, as the canvas stays blank and the artist can't express anything else. It is a weird but often experienced sensation. It's time to take a break. Maybe go for a walk or two. Let the mind breathe and other sources of inspiration. Nerds. Their past was often full of bullying, but now they hold more power than many would have ever imagined. I guess that revenge movie has some truth to it. Nemesis. Laziness, overthinking, burnout. My three biggest nemesis. Notorious. I wonder if some people look at me as a notorious figure within the Boricua literature circle, because I publish so often, and I never stick to one style and have little connections to other writers. I wonder if I'm considered notorious or if I'm not recognized as a writer, but more as the podcast dude. It's a thought that often pops up. An artist insecurity that often visits my thoughts, looking for further analysis, though I give it little attention and try to focus on perfecting and experimenting with the craft a little more. Nations. Nations' identities frequently being questioned through the force of globalization, seen more often as social media also plays a role in the game as people across the globe learn more from other cultures and often repeat their styles. It makes me wonder if the unique trait that makes each culture their own will always stay in some form. Naughty. Never really thought I'd see you turn into a naughty person until we meet each other in bed or other spaces in our home where you go wild and express your love in different naughty ways that the past would restrict. Naked. The poet stands naked as he leaves it all on the canvas. Thoughts, ideas, emotions, all of it and more are puked only to be then read and criticized for certain technicalities that people stuck in the past continue to follow like their lives depended on it. Nurtures. The expression heals and nurtures the artist and some of the spectators who consume it, a beautiful cycle that leads to healthier lives.